everyone. Welcome in. Welcome in. My main man, Phil Townsend. All smiles, L's up.
How's it
I ain't
going?
gonna let you slide with those gold hoop earrings you got in, man.
You know it, man. Look, my wife is like, you going out with me, you got to throw the earrings on.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, hey, man, we're gonna jump right into it, because we got a packed show tonight, and it's one of the most exciting times of the year of sorts. I mean, exciting because basketball season has officially UIL says we can practice.
Yeah.
All I hear is Allen Iverson, practice. We talking about practice? But man, we stopped this evening and went to watch a few of the ranked teams work out. We stopped over by Wagner. Uh, they're always, seems like they're always ranked.
Yeah.
Uh, then we went over to Judson and watched that practice. Uh, and Phil, you kind of talked about it earlier. It was more of guys just getting in shape.
Yeah.
But man, I tell you what, both of those coaches very successful. Coach Clark, Coach Cantu, very different personalities, and you can get some sound bites from Coach Clark. You know, at one point they were working hard, and then somebody wasn't physical, and he stopped it and da 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 da. And if you ain't physical, you ain't playing here. And
Yeah.
set the tone, man. I mean, you can't complain with that. And then they got the results to back it up. But let's see here. All right, there it is. I was trying to pull up the rankings, man. I'm gonna give the city's got some teams ranked, man. You know,
Well,
we
they should.
oh yeah. I mean, Brennan comes in at number 5 according to the UIL rankings. I know some have them as number 4, and we stopped in and watched number 15 Judson. And Harlan's in that mix, and we're gonna stop by Harlan tomorrow morning at 6:30. Harlan's ranked number 23. Jump into the 5A. You got Alamo Heights. You got you got Jay coming in number 14. I'm kind of surprised about that, man. I love Jay and all, but they lost a lot of seniors, a lot of talent on that team.
Yeah. But
I know Elijah Hubbard is prepping to take care of business, so they come in at number 14, and then Wagner comes in at number 8. Two teams that were ranked almost all season last year, and we rarely spoke about because we mainly focused on 6A and 5A. But in 4A, at coming in number 25 is Davenport, and then in 3A, coming in at number 3 is Cole, and that's an exciting time
oh,
uh, for those guys, and and what's funny, Cantu came from Cole High School over
is
to
that right?
yep, yep,
Yeah.
and
The only time I'd heard of Cole was when the big diesel
yeah.
was that way.
Well, people forget Cole went to state back to back years, and they they've had a good run, you know, and when we're talking about the gyms across San Antonio, still is ranked, and some have them as high as number 6, and so we're gonna of course follow out there, but you know there's a lot of guard play.
Yeah. But Kev, if I could interrupt you for a minute, you mentioned about Harlan and their ranking, right? You know, and I always think, well, was this before they lost a certain player?
Oh yeah, yes. That was before Cy transferred out to.
Man. I,
But it's gonna be,
I'm gonna miss seeing him.
yeah, yeah. Well, I know your plans. We're trying to plan you up to the Noble, and on
Yeah.
the second shift, second session, uh, Dallas Faith family will be there.
Right.
So that might entice you to
Might
drive those
entice
four
me to
hours.
go. Yeah.
you know, but yeah, man. But then you know, I was doing. We talked about forwards last week,
Yes.
and we had another forward, Isaiah Ward, committed to Denver. Um, Hagen Hurst committed to MSW in Denver. And so man, we got. Hey, remember beginning of the year, we said there would be 7 or 8 Division I players, right?
Yeah, you did.
And people laughed and chuckled, and we're sitting at 8 right now. And that's saying.
Oh, you're sitting at 8 because
Mhm.
Kevin Howell, the one-eyed scout, predicted.
Predicted, yeah. But we still have Alex Elliott out there. We still have uh, Mark Anthony at Johnson.
Right.
We still have Red. We still have Ian Joshua,
Hmm.
and the sleeper. I talked to a couple of people around the state today, and the real sleeper right now is Jaden Jones at Clark, um, because
You know, I
he
always
split.
cringe when you say Clark, but
But he split time with Jaden Flemings before Flemings went to TMI, and so they haven't seen a whole lot. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that moves forward. So man, there's a lot going on. We forget that we the seventh largest city in the country.
yeah, but you know, Kev, I want to see TMI.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just talked to some students that go to TMI,
Mm-hmm.
and I told them I was going to mention to you about we needed to try and make sure we saw something.
Oh, I'm 100% behind you. Like, there were some nice conversations I've had in the last few weeks, and people said, that I kind of had a slant when I first started, and I did because those were the only kids I knew. You know,
Right.
I'm, and then we started going out, and I never really had a reason to go to TMI outside of Corbin Crocker, uh, 6'9", 250, 245, uh,
Hmm.
power forward that I think is really under recruited. He's an animal. But now, man, now I know more players out there, and yeah, we're gonna swing out there, possibly for the Antonian TMI game. Would be a fun
Right.
one, you know.
Right.
But but yeah, man, there's plenty of matchups throughout the city. I was talking with Coach Cantu tonight when I was over at Judson, and they start off the season with Madison, you know, and then turn right around the net. They play back to back, and they play Austin Westlake at home, and that's going to be a big matchup when you think you got Mac Martin, uh, Houston Hoops, UYBL. Then you got Bo Ogden, who's committed to Texas.
Yeah.
So that's a great matchup right off the bat, and I haven't saturated myself into the schedules yet because I knew where I was going to be open at night, and that's up there in Dallas at the Noble. And man, that field there of teams, man, is crazy. I mean, the names and the ranked players um, that are going to be in there, the number of commitments, the number of underclassmen, just the number of ranked teams in both public and private school. So that's going to be fun. And let's talk about those two matchups right off the bat. We talked about it. Allen's going to be loaded and ranked near the top.
For
And here's a
sure.
name you might remember. Remember old Tyson Chandler? Played for the Mavericks
Oh yeah.
for what? Yeah. His son is a junior and is on that Allen team. And they got a guard, Nehemiah Lawrence, who's committed to Hampton. And so it's going to be fun to watch.
Hold it.
Mhm.
His son plays for who?
Allen.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Tyson Chandler the second.
Yeah. Okay.
And but we're gonna have, and he's a low major, mid major prospect.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get to see him matched up with Ed and Onway, who really,
Oh.
yeah,
Oh.
yes, because at the Noble we look for matchups,
Yeah.
you
Well.
know,
Yeah.
and
I'm putting my time on Eddie.
man, Ed's got 3 years, and man, we got him, the scouting report up on him on the website, so y'all go check it out, oneeyescout.com, and we break it down with commitments, and then we have different reports for different classes, 26, 27, 28.
Cat, would you say that again?
On oneeyescout.com, we have the commitments. You can see everybody, all the 8 people that we picked. Plus, we have the women up there that have committed. And then we have scouting reports posted, uh, broken down by class of 26, 27, and 28. And I'm not going to write about any 29s until we get to see mid-season, possibly. I know that they've got some tough guys that had some high rankings in middle school, and I'm not taking anything away from them. But we watched London. His first game out, and a lot of matchups
Right.
wasn't comfortable, and then turned right
That
around
second game.
and lit it up against against the forward that's going to Air Force.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it wasn't the. I think it's just got to be time in games, time and places. You know, but that he's gonna be good.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna be good. And talking about uh, bigs, young players are gonna be good. I think we can pencil in Ed Onway. I think we can pencil in London. I think we can pencil in Cameron Crenshaw from
Right.
over Wagner. And you know, we're gonna go out of order tonight, okay? Because I gotta say something. Now, I've told you that I like different high school coaches, and I really played for a guy like Coach Clark, so I enjoyed it, right? But I was sitting there watching, man, and Damian Ramirez, any other year, I think he's getting a lot more recruitment. But you look, we already have Talon, Amari,
Uh-huh.
and then other guys are offers. Uh, what's my man Red hasn't got that Division 1 offer, but he's got several JUCOs, several NAIA schools. Um, but it's just so top heavy, man. And then you got Damien and Ian Joshua, and we could go on, because we're San Antonio, we have guards. But
Right.
I think this is the deepest point guard class that we've had in a long time. And I said that last year. Go back and pull the tape, pull the receipts, as Mark would say, you know. But no, man. So I'm just looking. Okay, back to the story. So I'm in Wagner, and there's a kid wearing number 20, not Jordan Thomas, because Jordan Thomas is playing at Coastal Bend, right? And then I'm watching Damien, who's going to be the point guard, the featured point guard this year, who split time with Jordan last year. And then I'm looking, and then there's Tyler Jackson, class of 27, point guard that's going to have college opportunities. And then you look next one over, and it's Lionel Gillespie, We know him as Junior, but he's bigger, thicker, taller point guard. And so I was telling Clark, like, I didn't think you were about point guards, man, but you got a hell of a run of, he's set.
Uh-huh.
And but and I told him I was going to say it again.
What did
Coach
he
Clark,
say when you
he's
mentioned
all about the point. He just said, because man, I like it because he's got a young assistant coach that he lets do certain things. You know, great relationship with the staff. Because there's got to be that guy, right?
Oh yeah.
And but they play off 2 feet. And they every drill they run is a piece of their offense in some kind of way.
Hmm.
And so it's a very efficient practice. And that could be all over. I'm just saying it was interesting to watch. You know, I went over to Judson and I missed the bulk of their what would be maybe some instruction or I couldn't tell what they had practiced, but they were running up and down the floor, man. And they ran this drill, seemed like 10 minutes. Uh, that guys were split all around, and you had to rebound it and then outlet it,
Hmm.
and then the runner, had to be there for the layup. One pass, no dribbles, and there was some heavy breathing, you know. Uh, but but no, man. And what's cool is like we went to two uh, structured discipline programs, right? And when you kind of sit back and say discipline teams versus hype, October hype, and because of the sustained history with both of those programs,
Right.
I'm confident, they're both ranked. I feel like Judson could could be one of the representatives in 6A. To be quite honest, I think Brennan and Harlan both could lay claim to the other 6A. I think Wagner's going to learn from last year with the early exit, and they're loaded with athleticism. They had a guy move in, um, probably about 6'5", big, and that was the guy that Coach Clark talked to. That if you're not physical, you can't play for me. And go ahead, man.
No, you mentioned the difference between both coaches, right?
Mhm.
The other day. Now, and you mentioned about your college coach being more like that. Uh, you know, in your ear
Yeah.
kind of thing. How how did you like that type of coaching?
Well, for me, um, it was good.
Yeah.
The reason being, um, those coaches were a lot like Coach Huggins at West Virginia.
Uh-huh.
And the reason I say that is they were going to get in you with colorful language, but during games, they would let you chirp back. Not at practice, not anywhere else, you know. And but no, man, it worked for me. And I sought that out.
Yeah.
When I went to college. I
Uh-huh.
played for Tommy Collins, a well-known defensive coach, um, very disciplined, very a great guy, a great guy. But man, he had swag. I remember when he came on a visit to the Brownings house my senior year, man. He walked in with a trench coat and leather gloves. I swear to God, he was in the mafia, man. But he just had a presence, and I was drawn to it.
Look, with
Um,
what's going on in the NBA, he might
yeah, yeah, because he had the coach used to be at the Knicks, and he was with the Bulls when Derrick Rose was there. I can't think of his name, but they were good friends. Um, and that was one of the ties that I enjoyed. But I think when it comes and I think you're going with this question,
Yeah,
and you have to find the fit when these guys, because if it doesn't fit, it's not going to work.
you're right. Because see, that wouldn't work with me.
Hmm.
You see, because uh, I'm like, there are more intelligible ways to communicate with
Hmm.
me than that. You know,
Yes.
like my coach would come up and he'd say something like, "Come on, big one. You know everybody depending on you.
Yeah.
You're letting everybody down.
Yeah.
Come, come on."
Well, I will say he balances it out
Yeah,
because he started cracking jokes, man, and
yeah.
that
My coach was
phenomenon of
lighthearted.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Coach Cantu, uh, I've never seen man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, keeps a very calm demeanor. It might be, I'm sure he's fiery, because you don't get successful without being fiery at some point. But it is a different demeanor and a different process. Um, and the Wagner, like I walked in, man, and I guess school had been let out about 10 minutes, and man, they were banging with the pad, they were boxing out, they were, and he was telling them, you know, you got to box out, you got to box out, and then he turned around and got on to the offensive guys and said, hey, you got to crash the boards because if neither one of you doing it, then nobody's getting better, and so I like that,
Yeah,
you know, and I think a lot of stuff is going to run through Judson ISD. I think I I am going to get out there with Coach Perez at Veterans Memorial. I want to get out there to Shirt Cibolo.
yeah.
You know,
That's a
uh,
good one. Going out to Veterans
yeah.
Memorial.
I mean that's another point guard,
Yeah,
EJ Jordan.
yeah,
He's got offers, and man, he's got an offer to New Mexico Highlands, and that's one of the top Division II programs. And I say that because I was talking to a kid about low major Division I, and he said, "No, I'm going to New Mexico Highlands." I can't remember that kid's name right off the
yeah. I'm
top of
trying
my
to
head.
think of where New Mexico Highlands is. Uh, I believe that one of the guys from another show,
Hmm.
that I used to do. I believe
Yeah.
his son went there.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and a really good program.
Yeah. And man, I think that I think guys, we're going to that next level of point
Yeah,
guard. The Zachary Doc Jay Z at Harlem, De Leon, right?
yeah,
Adam Biscayeno. He just got an opportunity to play at Southwest down there in Austin. So I think like there, it's deep, and I always say I hate when people say guys are slept on, you know. But in this case, I think it's just stacked so deep that you're gonna have to um, do something like anybody 6 foot or under, really 6'2" or under, you
mhm,
got to have a calling card, whether it be defense, whether it be shooting.
exactly.
You gotta have, because these college programs are putting together a puzzle, and you got to make sure that you fit whatever kind of puzzle that somebody's looking for. You
Right.
know, um, so it's it's difficult. We put out something about 6 shiesty guards that or something like that, and Adam Biscayne was one of those, and he got an offer. Um, hold on one second. But so that was kind of neat, and he's been working. So there's levels to it, you know, and all that all this October hype, next weekend, I think we start having scrimmages. So some of these things will start falling into place, and then I just want to commend the basketball coaches in San Antonio because several like people are starting to schedule things out of town. Judson's always done it. Wagner's always done it. I believe Steele has. But man, I look at some of these schedules, man. I think Harlan lives in Houston for a couple of weeks, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the route to state. And um, Brendan has another tenacious schedule. Um, so you're going to start seeing a separation just based off schedules.
Yeah, but Kevin, it's not just like the schedule. You know, I like the access that you can get to the coaches.
Yeah.
That's something that's really nice because it's not like you haven't ever seen a coach that doesn't have the time of day to talk to you.
Right, right.
Not, not,
And I'm very gracious for that.
yeah,
You know, um, I think that some of that comes off on just a natural transition. Because for the most part, I sat in the bleachers for you. I still sit in the bleachers, but very unassuming. No one knew who I was, and
right.
then it just kind of developed organically. Never had to force myself into a situation. Um, but I appreciate you acknowledging that. But we're gonna wrap it up here soon. Right? It's crazy. We've already been on here 30 minutes. But you know what, people that are watching, I really appreciate the engagement surge. You know, we we were with Twitter, and then we had to lost, and then it's taken a while for people to start finding. And but we're averaging after our first big surge of we had like 600 people in a month. We've been averaging about 250 people a month, and I say that only because we're at a 4.3% engagement rate, and I'm a geek about that. But it's double the industry average, and we do everything organically. I don't believe in paying for to boost things, So I just want to celebrate the growth and the community that's becoming more and more. And all of that is because of the people that follow
Yeah.
and watch our shows and help us along with that. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
You know, well, Phil, you got anything to wrap it up, man?
No, I'm just looking forward to the exciting play that we are going to see this year. And we're going to get out and be around and let you all know what's happening. And the
Yes,
one eye
yes.
scout, Kevin Howell, he's going to give you his great assessment of these players and enjoy.
You know, let's close it like this: from gyms to group chats, from San Antonio to Arlington. We're here to keep the truth front and center. It's the One Eye Scout, and it ain't for everybody.
It ain't for everybody.